Hello, it's Jim Hutchins for the Jerusalem Connection Truth Report for this week. Well, President Donald Trump has decided to postpone the long-awaited unveiling of his Middle East peace plan at least until February, the Palestinian newspaper Al-Quds reported on Wednesday, citing the recent political crisis in Israel as the reason. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, quote, prefers no announcement of the plan whatsoever, especially now amid the recent developments in the region and the political crisis in Israel. And Trump advisors have recommended he postpone unveiling of the plan. The political crisis, which followed a flare-up in violence along the Israel-Gaza border, was sparked by the surprise resignation of Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman over the subsequent truce agreement between Israel and Hamas, a ceasefire. That's the way all of Israel's wars have ended, ceasefires. That nonsense has to stop. His resignation, that is Lieberman's resignation, nearly forced an early election, which was narrowly avoided at the last minute. The Israeli government is now operating with a precarious coalition of 61 members of the Knesset and could still potentially collapse. 61 out of 120. The East Jerusalem-based newspaper reported that it was the Israeli ambassador to Washington, Ron Dermer, who recommended that Trump shelve the plan for the time being, given the political pressures that Netanyahu's government now faces. Dermer is one of the officials privy to all the details of the plan, which Trump has dubbed the deal of the century, the report said. And as such, he has been working closely with senior White House advisor Jared Kushner and U.S. Special Representative for International Negotiation Jason Greenblatt, as well as with the U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman. Trump has previously stated that he would support any plan that would resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and in September he came out in support of a two-state solution. That's not going to happen, folks. Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked said on Wednesday, U.S. President Donald Trump is wasting his time trying to push for an Israeli-Palestinian peace plan at this time. Shaked said that reaching peace is currently impossible and that Trump should focus his energy to elsewhere until the Palestinians are ready to compromise. Speaking at a diplomatic conference in Jerusalem, Shaked said, quote, I think personally it is a waste of time. I want peace like anyone else, but I don't believe it's possible to reach an agreement. She's absolutely right. The U.S. is preparing to release its long-anticipated Middle East peace plan, which Trump calls, as he has said, quote, the deal of the century. You know, as I listen to these advocates of peace in the Middle East, I'm convinced it's not going to happen until those who are in charge, and primarily in Israel and the United States, focus on something else. The only one who can bring peace, and that's God. And there's a beautiful example of a prayer for peace. Psalm 83, that's what it is. It's a prayer for peace. It's not a strategy for war. It's a prayer for peace. Listen to what the psalmist says. O God, do not keep silent. Be not quiet, O God, be not still. See how your enemies are astir, how your foes, those who are against Israel are the foes of God. That's what the scripture says. See how your foes rear their heads with cunning. They conspire against your people. They plot against those you cherish. Come, they say, let us destroy them as a nation. that the name of Israel be remembered no more. With one mind they plot together, they form an alliance against you. We think it's against Israel, it's against God. But notice what the goal of this prayer is, and this is what it has to be ultimately. The goal of this prayer is verse 16. Cover their faces with shame so that men will see your name, O Yahweh. May they ever be ashamed and dismayed. May they perish in disgrace. Let them know that you, whose name is Yahweh, that you alone are the Most High over all the earth. You alone are the Most High. Let them know that your name, which is Yahweh, that you alone are the Most High. When the peace planners, peace seekers begin to pray to God to that end, what will happen? It will bring about the return, the coming of Jesus the Messiah, the Prince of Peace. That's when peace comes, when the Prince of Peace comes. And he rules in power and great glory. Pray for peace. Pray for the Prince of Peace to come, for that is the truth.